Our severe weather alert day continues this evening, although the threat seems to be diminishing. Several storms have already moved through this afternoon, and a more winter-like feel could be on the way. Meteorologist Evan Hatter has more on what to expect tonight. Evan?
Well, at least a late winter feel with temperatures back into the 40s for some parts of the region as we head into tomorrow, or we're really into the weekend. We have seen those thunderstorms, though, slowly trickling in, getting a few reports. We just saw this come in from the Weather Service. A tree down in Knox County briefly blocked a road near the Jarvis community. Good news is that is over with now, and the storms continue to push on out of the region. We still do have a tornado watch in effect for our northeastern counties through 10 o'clock. Again, I expect that will be chipped back as we head into portions of West Virginia. I think we'll be able to cancel some of that, at least some of that, in the next little bit. Temperatures remain in the low to middle 70s around the area. Prestonsburg got up to 80 a little while ago. We continue to see, though, temperatures in some parts of the region already into the 60s at the moment. Southwest winds. It's not usual that they do this, but they're bringing in cooler air on the backside of that frontal boundary. The main area of thunderstorms continues to move up into portions of West Virginia and Ohio. The strongest cell, quote unquote, right now, not far from Wayne. In fact, it's north of Wayne right now into Wayne County, West Virginia. A few showers trying to get going into parts of Lawrence, Johnson, and Floyd counties, even back into Magoffin County. But that area has been worked over pretty good from what we had earlier on this afternoon. You see those supercell thunderstorms pushed on through, dropped some hail, did a little bit of wind damage, but so far so good in terms of any kind of big-time severe weather. We still, though, do have some severe weather off to our south as well. Pushing on through into tonight, we'll continue to see the potential for some of those thunderstorms come to an end, though, as we drop into the 40s. I'll have the very latest on when we could see some more showers work in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. We have more weather coverage on the WYMT News app. If you've not downloaded the app, just scan the code on your screen with your phone. That will take you to a link to the news app that you can download. You can always find the latest closings and delays there, along with breaking news alerts, and we've had a bunch today. We encourage you to download both the WYMT News and weather apps. And we're following some breaking news right now as sheriff's deputies make an arrest in the death of a well-known Laurel County businessman. Deputies tell us they arrested Brian McCarty's girlfriend for his murder. After months of investigation, today deputies charged 49-year-old Victoria Strelski with the murder of 62-year-old Brian McCarty. The two were in a relationship at the time of McCarty's death. McCarty died back in September. He was shot multiple times inside his home. He was discovered after he failed to show up to a meeting. Deputies say they found significant information during a search of the victims' homes that led to Strelski's arrest today. She's charged with murder, forgery, and tampering with physical evidence. She's scheduled to be in court on Friday. This morning, the old Hazard High School caught on fire. The building now houses about 25 apartments. 21 of those are currently being rented. This is the second time that building has caught fire in recent years. The fire department, along with police and officials, were at the scene to assist those living in the apartments. Now, no one was injured, but there are now several people needing a place to stay.
It was enough damage that everybody had to be evacuated, obviously. But then the state fire marshal and the Hazard Fire Department decided that the building was unsafe to go back in. So all day long we've been dealing with, maybe 25 to 35 people that's displaced without a place to live.
Several organizations stepped in to assist in transporting the tenants to new temporary shelters. One person is dead after two cars crashed this morning on US 23 in Floyd County. The crash happened around 7 this morning, just past the Kentucky 80 interchange heading towards Pikeville. Now, US 23 reopened this afternoon, but it created long lines of traffic for the majority of the morning. Officers say Jerome Jenkins of Prestonsburg died in that crash after his truck was hit by a car driven by Stephen Newsom of Virgie. Officers believe Newsom was suffering from some sort of medical emergency and had been driving north in the southbound lanes of 23 for about 3 miles before hitting Jenkins' vehicle. We now know the identity of two people who died in a triple shooting that happened in Pike County On Friday, March 18th, Kentucky State Police say 20-year-old Jayon Divins and 21-year-old Lyndon Ellis, both of Ohio, were the ones that died. The shooting happened in the stopover community of Pike County. A third person was also shot and injured. We still do not know the name of that person or their condition. No information has been released about what led to the shooting. After today, Kentucky lawmakers just have a half dozen days left to consider legislation for this year's General Assembly session. The last day to vote on bills is April 14th, and the clock is ticking on a new spending plan and other high-profile legislation. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to the governor and lawmakers about the plans for the final days.
It is a much different situation for lawmakers this year. Usually talk of a budget uses words like austere or bare bones. This year, surplus is a popular word.
That means we can make game-changing and state-changing investments in education. It means with just 9% of our additional dollars, we can provide universal pre-K to every 4-year-old across the state.
However, neither House or Senate included preschool in their spending plans. There could be a tax rebate, though, and also trimming of the income tax. The proposals would also give state worker raises and more flexibility for school systems. The Senate president says they want to be cautious in what they do.
But we do have substantial monies, and we're going to try to make smart investments, and we're going to try to look at a tax code that puts some of the money back in people's pockets.
And there are three very controversial, high-profile issues that have been given a stamp of approval in the House, but have yet to be voted on in the Senate. The House narrowly approved a funding mechanism for charter schools, sports betting through online poker and wagering at horse tracks, and horse track-owned facilities cleared the full House. Medicinal cannabis passed the House, but its future in the Senate still has some question marks.
So what I'm hoping we will see is a continued discussion on this, more research, and we will continue this throughout the rest of the session to see what type of support there is.
Lawmakers will meet Thursday and Friday and Tuesday and Wednesday of next week before adjourning until April 13th for 2 days to consider veto overrides.
And I'll also just say I hope as we end the session that we don't see some of the cruel votes that we have seen, like cutting off $50 million of food aid to hungry seniors and children.
So this just returns the benefits to pre-COVID levels. That's all. And if there is no emergency, why do you have emergency funding?
In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
By law, the legislature must have a budget passed by the end of the session that ends at midnight on April 14th. Just days before the Russian invasion, a Lexington woman went back home to Ukraine to visit family and friends. Svetlana Duwichuk was visiting friends at the Ukrainian Evangelical Theological Seminary. She had a ticket to fly out, but airlines were canceled. So with nowhere to go, she took shelter in the seminary. So 4 days after the war started, Svetlana and about 50 people from the seminary found a bus to escape. After driving through dangerous back roads and several checkpoints, the journey out was going okay until they heard Russian tanks were on the road.
We had to go back and hide in the woods close to the road. God was protecting, you know, all the way out.
Svetlana says she is sending money and other supplies to help the people of Ukraine. ARH officials tell us they have received a power grant through the Appalachian Regional Commission. That money will go towards a service expansion that could have a big impact on your health care. WYMT's Zach Hawk met with ARH leaders and has more.
The ARH hospital system will use $1.5 million of grant money to build 2 long-term acute care hospitals in eastern Kentucky. Russell Barker will serve as president and CEO of ARH Advanced Care and oversee the operation.
Currently, there's no services like this in our service area, so patients and their families are having to travel greater than an hour and a half in any direction to get these services.
Currently under construction, the state-of-the-art facilities will care for patients with complex medical conditions that require long hospitalizations. Officials say keeping families close improves long-term health outcomes for the patients.
The families being involved in the care that they're receiving while they're in our facilities It's going to help facilitate recovery when they go home and long-term recovery.
2 25-bed facilities are currently being built, one in Hazard at the ARH Medical Campus, the other in Pike County at the Tug Valley ARH campus. The projects are possible thanks in part to a grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission's Power Initiative, which improves coal-impacted communities.
It certainly helps us to better serve our communities anytime that we can get a grant that will help fund it.
Barker added that the project will create more than 100 new jobs in the region. In Hazard, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
ARH is not the only recent Power Grant recipient. $500,000 will go to the Leadership Kentucky Foundation for its Bright Kentucky program. Officials with the foundation say they are working to develop dedicated Eastern Kentuckians for future business and political leadership.
And we just see so much excitement and wonderful things happening in Eastern Kentucky. And this next generation of leaders are the ones that are going to fulfill it and make it all happen.
Other grant recipients include $1.5 million for a work-ready program at Southeast Kentucky Community and Technical College, and another $1.2 million will go to Eastern Kentucky Pride for the Kentucky Wildlands Regional Tourism Initiative. Some say the best way to learn something is to live it, and today students at Pikeville Elementary School did just that. WYMT's Buddy Forbes joined students and community members on a stroll through a living wax museum.
From drawing names for their subjects,
we did a lot of research about our person and what made them how they are today,
to diving into their stories.
You just have to know what source is, and you have to know all about them and be an expert on them.
Students at Pikeville Elementary brought their semester projects to life through a living wax museum.
It's really difficult to memorize that minute-long speech, but fortunately, we have a lot of time to do this.
Giving the 6th graders a chance to bring the facts and become the figures.
Really, it felt like I was teaching them about me. Well, it felt like I was Betty White.
Discovering the true stories about influential creators.
How he contributed to society, how he helped the world around us.
Incredible caregivers.
She helped a lot of poor people and the sick and dying people.
And idolized celebrities.
How she was able to overcome, like, being a woman and all, and acting in so many different shows and movies.
While discovering things about themselves along the way.
And they have so much ownership, and they're so proud, and it really kind of takes my breath when I see how proud they are on performance day because they've worked so hard.
Putting it all on display at the press of a button. In Pikeville, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Students say the annual project is a great way to learn about their own subject and an even better way to hear the stories of everyone presented by fellow castmates.
Reminds me of something I got to do way back at elementary school. Well, we're not done tracking showers. That will continue into the end of the work week. I got the full breakdown on the way. Stick around.
And with warmer weather brings tick season, but we hear from experts that it's a different disease we should be more concerned about other than Lyme disease.